Ole Miss swept the Nevada Wolfpack 13-2, taking all three games in the series this weekend. Let's overreact. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast around. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss football staff member as well. We just watched the Ole Miss Rebels systematically take apart the Nevada Wolfpack. We're going to talk about that, what stood out in our mind. We're going to spend about 15 to 20 minutes talking about the series as a whole. It should be a lot of fun. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now it's the number one sports podcast network in America. That's because of fans like you taking in content like this, and we can't be more appreciative of that. All of this and more on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available in all the podcast apps and on YouTube. And a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make the show what it is, and that is your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football. Well, it's the last call for the Winter Olympics, potentially. And if you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win on FanDuel. It should be pretty interesting stuff. Ole Miss won 13-2 over the Nevada Wolfpack in a game where, listen, there's some storylines that can be taken away, even though we don't know how good Nevada is going to be. Okay. We don't know what we just saw. We know that they won the Mountain West a year ago, but we don't know how good this team is. So the question becomes, what do you take away from this performance? First of all, I'm going to talk about Dom Decker on the podcast tomorrow morning and everything. He is going to be my favorite player on this baseball team. Absolutely. He is a throwback to when baseball was the most popular sport in the country before everything was analytical based. And he just plays the game the right way, and he's so fun to watch. I will talk about that tomorrow. If there's no fans left on this earth for Dom Decker, I'm dead. That's what I'm saying right now. But this is a performance over the weekend where Ole Miss's pitching staff was really good. And what I mean by that, they're not giving away free passes. They're not walking batters. And in college baseball, the difference between winning big, winning small, and losing the game is often bases on balls. You want to avoid putting people on base, and you want to get on base as much as possible. And Ole Miss didn't walk anybody over the course of the weekend. I think in today's game, they had 2 walks. They were consistently around the strike zone. That everybody should be excited what they saw from the pitching staff. Hunter Elliott, Cade Townsend, and the pitcher today as well. We're going to break down that in just a second. Will Libbert was really, really good and pretty consistently around the zone, especially for a Sunday starter, when most of those times they turn into slugfest and the score lines can get absolutely weird anyway. But Ole Miss was consistently around the zone and did not give Nevada bases on balls, and they took bases on balls over the course of the game. Now, one thing to pay attention, Ole Miss walked today 13 times. They gave up 2 bases on balls. There was only 1 home run today, and that was Daniel Pasella. He hit a nuke. I don't generally like saying nuke for a home run, but my goodness, he absolutely destroyed a baseball. Dom Decker, actually, 0 for 3 on the day. But he found a way, even though he was a hitless, to influence the game. He had a couple of walks. He played good defensive first base after that first throw that was very weird and a great play by Will Furnace. Owen Pano struggled a little bit on the defensive end. The shortstop position is kind of a worry spot at this point through 3 games. But the rest of the defense at least seemed at a minimum competent. And that's honestly all that we could ask for. Anyway, if you're commenting on this video, please put where you're commenting from. We're going to spend the second segment on the program after the break on your comments. So please put where you're commenting from so I can shout that out as well. This Ole Miss team played a pretty good series over the weekend. For a team that was pretty good last year, they hit a lot of long balls, a lot of 3-outcome hitting over the course, and they ended up getting beat by Murray State on their run to Omaha. But this Ole Miss team, I love the way the lineup is constructed. Today, most of the damage was done by the bottom tier of the lineup. And I don't mean second tier or anything like that. You have a top of the lineup and you have a bottom of the lineup. And the way it is constructed, there's somebody that gets on base, plays small ball, and then there's a couple of damage doers in the lineup after that. And then they repeat that at like the lineup position number 6 in the order all the way down to number 9. It was the 6 through 9 that did the damage in this game. When you look at it, you have, let's see, Colin Reuter had 3 hits, Austin Foley 1 for 3, Daniel Pacello 1 for 3. He also hit a home run. Will Furness 1 for 3. Owen Pano 0 for 4. He drew a collar. Hayden Federico was 0 for 1, but he walked 3 times. Everybody was good at getting on base and getting themselves in the scoring position in this game. Which on a Sunday, like I said, it's the one thing that you really want to do. And Will Everett got the win for the game. He threw 5 innings on the game, only gave up 4 hits, that's 7 Ks, only 1 walk, 2 earned runs for the day, 81 total pitches, 51 of those were for strikes. He did give up 1 home run to Yamaguchi that made it 5-1 or something like that. This game was never really even in close to being in doubt. And that was because of what they did. Ole Miss out of the bullpen, an inning by Calopi. 2 strikeouts in that day. He faced 4 batters. Waters got the, I guess not save, but the last pitcher that went in, he had 1 hit, 1 inning. And he faced 5 batters of what's going on. He actually gave up a double as well. Ole Miss played a good baseball game. Ole Miss played a good baseball series, if we're just going to be honest about it. They not only just looked competent, they looked like they could be pretty good. There's a lot of stuff to like about this team. Judd Umark this season, I don't want to say he looks different, okay, because he hit 20 home runs a year ago. But he's squaring up balls and hitting them on the button early in the season, and we all know the bats don't usually warm up until the temperatures heat up. Well, they came out to play today, and Udemark is killing the ball already. All of the big hitters for Ole Miss, they're playing long ball fairly early, and the small ball guys are getting on base either through walks or not chasing. And Federico is basically a Decker clone, so whenever you put those in different parts of the order, you can be pretty convinced that they're going to be pretty good. And the question becomes the defensive side of the ball. Yesterday it was Braden Randall. I think he had a throw and error as well on a throw to second base. Today it was on Owen Pano's time to do that. So the shortstop position's a little bit of a position of worry. I want to see Foley get his first home run, obviously. The outfield's playing pretty well. The young guys are contributing fairly early, and they're in a good shot to not necessarily make a run, but gain momentum in the early part of the season, because in about a month it gets real. That road series at Texas, that's right down the road. So you have to get your ducks in a row to start with, because you know that gauntlet is coming up. You have to stack wins right now, whether against Nevada or against Tuesday night against Arkansas State or Wednesday against Jackson State. It's important not to let those slip away because of what is coming. Everybody knows the slate for Ole Miss is unbelievably hard in baseball this year. You need to stack wins in the non-conference like you never have. Whoever can be beaten needs to get beaten. And when you play in the tournament in Houston and you're going up against Baylor, which had the kid who hit 3 grand slams in one game, you need to find a way to get a W in that game. So we'll see exactly what it looks looks like for the Ole Miss Rebels as it moves forward. We're going to take your comments right after the break. Remember, be sure to put where you're commenting from, because I want to be sure that I'm able to read out where you're coming from, be able to shout that out. And if there's not many comments or not much is going on, we'll shut this down at 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. But we're going to stay on this as long as there is a reason to stay on this. But when we come back, your comments about Ole Miss's start to the first series of the season, they got the sweep, and they have a chance to build a little bit of momentum going forward. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. The Winter Games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. That's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The drama of curling matches that start slow but somehow get really intense at the end. Speed skating races, decided by just mere inches, or hockey games that feel different right from the opening faceoff. The U.S. men's team, they're pretty good, it looks like, at this Olympics. Even niche events become must-watch when you're fully locked into the competition. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. And the new year is here, and it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's the one-stop shop for getting your home back on track. From bedding to mattresses to storage solutions for every room, Wayfair makes it easy to start your year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for the full home refresh, all in one place. Whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style and budget. My wife just refreshed the living room with 2 ginormous bookcases and was also able to pick up 2 pretty cool decorative statues as also a rug for the kitchen. It was about as perfect of an experience as shopping can be. I love that I could find pieces that match our style without spending a fortune. Shopping is easy, delivery is smooth, and everything arrives exactly as expected. It honestly made getting back into the routine this year feel a whole lot more manageable. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this year. For way less, head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Hiring isn't just about finding somebody willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And you want candidates who match what you're looking for. Indeed sponsored jobs, well, that's the move, because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your criteria, like skills, certifications, and yes, even location. That's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific and target exactly what you need. It saves time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches. And with sponsored jobs, your post gets seen by as many candidates who are actually a fit. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed's data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners to this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Hey, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. If you would, subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs nothing, but it helps keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. That's all because of you. Thank you very much. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 per year. Go to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com or check the link down in the show notes below to learn more. And also, if you sign up for that, be sure and sign up for the Discord, and I will get you the link to join the Locked On Ole Miss private Discord so you can talk about Ole Miss sports and not have to worry about trolls, if we're going to be completely honest about it. So let's go in there and see if there's any comments in the session of what's going on. And this was a big weekend for Ole Miss. Ole Miss, we're going to be live after the Arkansas State game, live after the Jackson State game. We're going to go live after Ole Miss baseball games, as many as we can do. That should be a lot of fun, but midweek games, obviously, with Ole Miss playing on the road, like if they go to SELA or something like that, it could be a problem. But we're going to try to do lives on most every show. So we'll see exactly how it goes. Sam Norris says, the lineup seems like it's legit, well put together. Hopefully it lasts in SEC play. Like I said, I like the construction of this lineup. I am a huge Dom Decker fan right now. He didn't have the best game hitting today. He still found a way to influence the game in a positive way. He's somebody that helps your team get better and was the reason when you had 7 Dom Deckers on the baseball field, where baseball was the most popular sport in America before analytics killed it. Whenever you have true dirtbags, you forget how enjoyable it is to watch this game. And that is something that just stood out almost immediately. When a player tries to turn a single into a double, when they're stealing base, every time you look at him, dirt's all over his uniform. It's fantastic. We're going to talk about that on tomorrow's podcast as well. He's awesome, but I love the lineup construction. Him and Federico kind of being the separate leadoffs in different portions of the lineup with damage doers immediately behind them. I think Ole Miss can get some mileage out of that. Ben Bynum says, is Austin Simmons pitching for Mizzou? Wouldn't matter anyway because that program is horrible. South Haven, Mississippi. I do not think that Austin Simmons would pitch for Mizzou. For starters, Mizzou as a program is a couple of steps below where Ole Miss is. And I don't think that, honestly, Elijah Drinkwitz wants Austin Simmons messing around with his arm and what's going on. I think that situation is probably more of a real deal because he's going to be the guy. He was recruited to be the guy. So it becomes down to whether or not Missouri would be okay with it. I do not think that they would be. Alan Beck says, I'm really impressed by our pitching. Still curious about the bullpen from Algoma, Mississippi. The starters, love the starters. They look fantastic. They're around the plate. They don't look overly wild. I mean, you can always not have your stuff, but it wasn't a cold weekend in February like some of these February games are, but it still wasn't ideal weather conditions, and Ole Miss still managed to keep the ball near the plate. They gave up a couple of home runs. I think all 3 of them, Hunter Elliott, Cade Townsend, and Libbert, all gave up a home run over the course of the game, but that's going to happen when now people try to do damage with every at-bat. So 13-2, very good result for Ole Miss. I'm curious to see where it will go. Sam Norris says, from Macon, Georgia, I think Randall will be fine at short, but Pano is unfortunately not the answer. I think Pano might end up having a Campbell Smithwick, Derek Diamond type of career for Ole Miss. It doesn't look ideal at the moment. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to throw around the B word of bust, but there seems to be problems fielding the position. And one thing that Ole Miss has been pretty good at over the course of the history of its program is having good shortstop after good shortstop after good shortstop. It is kind of weird that shortstop is kind of the problem area right now for Ole Miss. Whenever you look back at that, it's like, that's at least a little bit odd. But I do agree with you. I think Randall will be fine. I think whenever Randall ended up at shortstop last year in the second half of the season. Ole Miss baseball got better just because he was more dependable defensively than Pano was at that point. But you do lose a little bit on the bat. But heck, Pano threw up an 0 for 4 today and didn't look particularly good doing it. And that's a cause for concern as well. I'm curious to see what this team does whenever they step up against higher velocity pitching. Because I saw a whole bunch of soft tossing lefties for the Nevada Wolfpack. They're good, they're fine, but there wasn't exactly the pitching staff that you're going to see once this all gets going. It's going to be imperative that Ole Miss manufactures runs from time to time, also plays the long ball, and the big guys are always ready to go. And it looks like the big guys right now came into this season ready to go. I think it'll be interesting. All right, we're going to do another live reaction after the Arkansas State game, if we can, on Tuesday, and against Jackson State on Wednesday. We'll talk about both of those games. We have Spencer McLaughlin. He's going to be the afternoon show tomorrow. We're going to have Brian Smith on the show at some point. I don't know exactly which day that's going to be, but we'll do that and talk about Ole Miss football in Trinidad. We are going to talk to Chad Smith, who is the baseball expert, and we're going to put that on, I don't know, maybe Thursday night, maybe Wednesday night. I'm not 100% sure, but we're going to concentrate on the weekend, not the midweek, if that's possible. We're going to have him set up. Then we'll talk to Michael Katz, Tom Vanderford, like we always do. This is going to be a weird time as we kind of figure out the workflow, because some days are going to be 3 videos, some days are going to be 2. And if there's a rain out, there might be a day where there's 1 video as well. So please be patient with what's going on. Thanks for tuning in today on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk about Ole Miss baseball all through this season. We're going all in on baseball this year. We're going to see how this goes and kind of want to be the place to talk baseball for Ole Miss this year. So make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you can get all the latest episodes. We're on all the social channels as well, so check that out as well. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get the Locked On Ole Miss podcast ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonolemisssupercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel and audio. Make sure you make your second listen Locked On College Football or Locked On SEC. Ole Miss wins 13-2 to sweep the Nevada Wolfpack and start the year 3-0 with Jackson State coming up, with Arkansas State coming up. All good things. Take care. Have a good time, and hotty toddy.